Okay, today I'm going to talk about the 7 pillars of Swolenormous and how I apply them and how other people can apply them to addiction recovery. The 7 pillars of Swolenormous are 1, community; 2, nutrition; 3, training; 4, recovery; 5, mobility; 6, mindfulness; and 7, consistency. Now, starting with pillar number 1, community. Community is the people you surround yourself, both physically and digitally. Physically, it's the people like in early recovery would be either like an inpatient, and if you're going through detox and like the rehab or whatever, and it would also be in like things like going to like outpatient as well. Now, I'm big on not into AA and everything, and I have a video about why I left and everything. So, like, for someone like me in my area, uh, to physically like surround yourself with people to like help you in your recovery, it wouldn't necessarily be good for someone like me going to AA because, I stated in one of my previous videos on why I left, it wouldn't really necessarily be conducive for someone like me. And big reason why I'm doing this is so that way I can reach people that necessarily are like me, and that they don't agree with the message of AA, so they can get into something like smart recovery, which I'm big on. So you may have to turn to like the digital content, like going online and everything, which is also important. So you can find like smart recovery groups, or like other types of groups like rational recovery and like reach out recovery that you can get online to kind of like get that support as well. So you still want to try and find people like in your local community, like if like for instance, like you're like me into like a local involved in one of the local pagan groups, you could get into something like that where you can find try and find people that are in your physical location that can help you. But if you're having a tough time, you can always turn to the digital, going online and everything. And so you kind of have to balance like the with community, both the physical and the digital and everything. And it is easy to come across like in both realms. It is easy to come across like a lot of like negative people physically that are physically around you, and a lot of BS that's online and everything. So you kind of have to get like a BS detector and be able to sift through the stuff and through the people and everything. So that is like a big thing, like because you want to surround yourself with people and content that are going to inspire you to get better, and not just wallow in your own self-pity and like co-sign your bullshit and everything. You want someone calling you out on it, so that way you can sit there and improve yourself on these other pillars that I'll be talking about. And number 2 is nutrition. Nutrition is like pretty much like whatever we eat. So like a lot of the junk that's out there, like potato chips, soda, ding dongs, and like all the junk food and everything, and even like things like fast food, have that negative effect on us, where like it could increase like our ability to help in like in fueling our addiction, whether it's just like the most common known ones like drugs and alcohol, but also food can be a form of addiction in itself, fast food and like a lot of these snacks and stuff, because they're designed for you to constantly consume and buy more. So like that's one of, if not the most common types of addiction nowadays that I see, is like all these foods and everything. So that's one thing you want to cut out. So the trick is with nutrition, they say, is like go around the perimeter of the grocery store buying fruits and vegetables. And like in the local one I have, you walk in, you have like the meat, like a produce section right in front of you with all the fruits and veggies. And as you go back, you go into like the bread, where the bakery where the bread is and stuff. And then you also have the seafood department, the meat department. And then as you go out and around, you have like on the other side and the outside of it, you have the dairy, where you get your things like the eggs, milk, and cheese and stuff like that. So like the first this is where the idea of the elimination diet comes into mind. So like you cut out all the junk, like I said, like the ding dongs, the donuts, the potato chips, the sodas first. So with the elimination diet, with the elimination process, you're cutting out this junk, and then you're starting to get into like the produce, the meats and dairy, and you're trying to find out what kind of food works best for you. And it kind of helps remove the ideology now, like the whole plant-based, like with the total vegan, and total animal-based with the carnivore. You kind of had to find along that scale what works for you, that you can able to maintain long term, whether it is being completely plant-based with vegan, or being completely animal-based with carnivore, or if it's something different like keto or paleo, or whatever works. So like by doing the elimination process with nutrition, it puts you in the driver's seat of finding out what foods work best for you. So that's the whole pillar 2 with nutrition and everything. So like and I'm going to like talk about like my approach with like this stuff. So like going back to community, I tend to get like locally, I have like support with family, and I also get, like I said, into like a group of like local pagans and everything. And like my nutrition tends to be more like based on like paleo. I seem to like respond well with more fruits over veggies, and I tend to like do better with like a more higher fat types meats, or like steak and everything. So with pillar 2, like I said, you have to kind of like figure out what works for you, and it's like an ongoing process and everything. So like usually, like if you take like a couple, like it takes like a couple months. So like say you might be lactose intolerant, or you might be sensitive to it. You cut it out for a couple months, then you reintroduce it and you see if it affects you negatively. So that's kind of like the elimination process. You take like 6 to 8 weeks to see like how something affects you. And like online group that I like I'm big that I'm in, that I'm starting to try and get more involved in, is like Team Athlean for Athlean X, which I've made a video about and everything. So like go check that out. So I'm going to approach my other pillars talking about that. So like with nutrition, like Jeff Cavalier through Athlean X has videos on like on nutrition as well. So he can that's a good place to get like at least the basic information to start and everything. And then with training, pillar 3 is pretty much what is going to get you physically active, and what is going to pretty much get you up off and not be lazy, get you up off your ass and everything. So for me, I'm going to approach it from like I'm big into like lifting, yoga, and conditioning. So like it depends on like those are the 3 things I'm usually into. So in like with training, you don't necessarily want to be like a one-trick pony. So like if all you do is say powerlifting and you get injured, then you're kind of screwed, because you don't like oh well, I just hurt my knee and now I can't train and everything. So like you want to try to find like 2 or 3 things that you can do. So like maybe your shoulder's bothering you, so like you can after a lifting session, so like, well, I can't maybe necessarily lift today, so I can switch and off and maybe do yoga. So for me, the 3 things like I do is primarily lifting, and second thing is like I do conditioning, because I'm like just started today with like the Max Size Athlean X program. So and like Athlean X programs are designed for like lifting and conditioning. So like the AX1 and AX2 programs are like 3 days of lifting, 2 days of like conditioning, and then like the other 2 days of the week, what you could do is like instead of just sitting around doing nothing, like, oh hey, it's rest days, use it as like an active recovery. So like for instance, like you do like the AX1 program Monday through Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday, what you do is like take like an active recovery instead of like just total sitting on the couch or whatever. As active recovery, you do like for instance the typical 10,000 steps or whatever, you get out, do walking, and then like you do like a yoga class, like what would be perfect to combination for like lifting would be like what's called yin yoga, which is like a more passive type of stretching. You could also get into like the other types like Ashtanga or like Vinyasa. So like it's stuff you have to play around. So like, but like you might not necessarily be someone like me that's into lifting or whatever. You might be someone who's into basketball and everything, and you could in a sense use basketball as your training, or like or a different sport that you're into, like baseball, football, whatever, that could be considered your training. So use whatever whatever it is to get like you up and moving and active and everything as you're training for your training. But you also want to have like one or two other things that you can use in case, like I said, like you get like a minor like injury. For like for instance, for a while I had like my chest right here, and like one of the tendons was bothering me for a while, so I would back off my lifting and like start doing other things, and like over the course of like a month or two it did get better and everything. So now into pillar 4 is recovery, which is basically things like your sleep and like hydration. So like sleep are like a lot of the sleep experts say like you get like 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Like a book that like with these the Swolenormous pillars, like one of the things that they talk about in Swolenormous is like Matt Walker, like why we sleep and everything. So you want to get on a consistent basis for being able to like sleep. Like for me, I work at like 6 o'clock in the morning, so like I'm up at like 4 a.m. So I'm in bed like at 8 o'clock, so I get like a good at least 7 hours of sleep and everything. So you have to kind of base it on your schedule. So like you might work second shift and get done at 11, so you get home and maybe you kind of wind down for an hour, you get to bed at maybe midnight or 12:30, and then you sleep 8 hours to get up at like maybe 9:30 or something. Like you kind of have to play it around with your schedule and everything to get on a consistent sleep basis. And the other part is hydration, like drinking water pretty much. Like you want to cut out like this goes back to like the nutrition pillar. Like you want to cut out like things like soda and everything, and alcohol is definitely a big thing that dehydrates you and everything. So like you definitely want to cut out alcohol, even if you're not addicted to it and everything. And it, like with soda, if you find that you're addicted to soda per se, like the way you can cut cut soda out is like use seltzer water. Like replace like a can of soda with a bottle of seltzer water. And next week, you if you're drinking 3, the second week you use the second one to replace the second can. By the third week, you're all completely out. So like if you're just like oh okay, well I don't want to just drink water, it doesn't have any flavor on it. Like there are things you could do, but like you like to enjoy maybe something that like a drink or whatever. Me, I'm big on either drinking black coffee or going for something like tea. Those could be like your drinks that you indulge with and everything. So like but with coffee, like I'm big on like you probably want to drink it black, so you're cutting out the cream and the sugar and everything, because like sugar tends to be like a negative aspect, especially with like nutrition and your training and everything. But like if you're getting sugar, you want to get it from something like fruit and stuff, with getting back to nutrition. So like you kind of have to like find tricks to be able to hydrate yourself properly and everything. And with number 5 is mobility, being able to like move like your whole body, like being able to move up your shoulders and like back, and being able to pretty much be able to move through a full range of motion like a human. And this is where something like yoga comes into big play and everything. So that way it gives you that extra strength and through the full range of motion. And like I said, it can be a backup and complement to like whatever you're doing for your training pillar. And it could be like a substitute for the training pillar on like a for like me, a non-lifting day or whatever. So like this is why I said that you want to try and find 2 or 3 things that you can use for your training, and all of this is interconnected, as you can see. And number 6 is the mindfulness, like pretty much like up here, like with pretty much like with addiction, especially like someone like me who's getting drunk all the time. You really can't think straight if you're like not sorting through like getting all like for me, getting rid of the alcohol so I can actually get through that the alcohol induced brain fog. You gotta kind of have to work through the psychological issues and everything. So like even if you're not someone who like goes through addiction, or like you may not have any other mental disorders like anxiety or depression or whatever, but working on mindfulness, like if you like feel like you need to get with a therapist or a psychologist or whatever to work through whatever issue or issues that you may have, so that way you can get on an even keel mentally and everything. And so like the big things like what I use for pillar 6 mindfulness is journaling and meditation. Like with meditation, like what you can do is like use like go on to like here on YouTube or whatever and find like maybe start with like maybe 5 minutes, and then like you can maybe do 10 minutes. And like journaling, like I've said before, like you can go to like Walmart, get like a notebook, you get like a mechanical pencil with some of the graphite and everything for like 10, maybe $15 and then what I do is at the end of the day, I sit there and I just date it like okay, today is like October 27th or 2021 or whatever, and then I just sit there and I write on like okay, how the hell did my day go and everything. So I can kind of like take that step back mentally and look at how my day went, and then like after like 3/4 of way through, I start looking forward, like okay, what do I got coming up and everything, like tomorrow. And it's a way for you to kind of get out the whole mess, like the mouse, that mouse wheel that keeps going. You can kind of get down in paper and get that stop and everything. And this is where like another thing is like meditation is sort of that like time out. You're like, hey, time out. I need to step outside and get away from things and everything. So like another thing that like with mindfulness that has helped me is like getting out for walks, like using something like the Fitbit or something, like doing the typical 10,000 steps or whatever. Getting out for walking, especially in nature and everything, it can help you kind of clear your mind, and it gets that it's they say it's like a walking meditation where you can kind of like clear your head and start thinking and everything. I mean, you may be someone who's in the city and like, well, I don't have access to like necessarily nature or whatever, or like, oh, if I'm in New York City, I can't necessarily get to Central Park or whatever. What you could do is like if you have like a gym membership, you can go to like there and just kind of like do a casual walk or whatever on the treadmill, and just kind of maybe listen to a podcast, or like or just kind of just sit there and kind of walk on the treadmill thinking and everything. So like there's ways you can kind of get away around, like maybe not necessarily like I can't get out to nature because I'm in a mega city or something, and you kind of have to look at your unique situation and try and piece together like all these 7 pillars to kind of like what fits in my schedule, what fits in like my life right now, and how can I sit here and constantly improve on it. And pillar 7 is consistency, which is pretty much what ties all the other 6 together, because like it's great if you do the those first 6 for 2 weeks and everything, but it doesn't do you jack shit if you take 3 months off from that stuff. So like these are the 7 pillars of Swole Enormous. And so like what you can do like with everything is like take a step back and like, okay, like you may want to get into like the Daily Swole and like and everything with that, where these come from and everything. Well, you can what you can do like with me is like take the 7 pillars and like, okay, how do I apply this to my life? And like I mean, I've been following Swole Enormous for a few years now, and like I still use the 7 pillars to kind of like as like a checklist, because like a daily checklist. Okay, am I engaging with like a community, with the people both physically and digitally? Am I getting in my proper nutrition? Am I doing my proper training? Am I getting enough sleep and hydration? Am I working on my mobility? Am I doing my journaling and my meditation every day? So like in this consistency, I'm doing that every day. So like for instance, like right now, my progress is like with the community. Okay, I'm engaging like with family, like trying to be in contact with them as much as possible, and digitally being in contact with like with team athleting, because I'm doing like with training. I'm doing the max size program, and also all the people in like my area that are also into things that I'm into and everything. So like number 4, like with the recovery, like okay, like I got my workout done this morning. Am I using enough the rest of the day to kind of recover from that workout? And number 5, like I said, okay, did I get my mobility in? Did I do some yoga or something? Like and with mindfulness, okay, I still have to do that, because my routine is I usually do my meditation and journaling before I go to bed and everything. And with consistency, okay, once I get all those checked off, like boom, I got pillar number 7 done. So like you can use these 7 pillars to kind of like as like a checkpoint to like progress through like your addiction recovery. So like for instance, like you're starting out with community, like you're starting out like in inpatient and or outpatient. You're now starting to engage with people that are starting to help lift you up out of like that hole you dug yourself in with your addiction. You're starting to eat healthier, you're starting to get more physically active, and you're starting to sleep better, drink better. Well, drink better as in water, not necessarily alcohol, or like not necessarily, maybe like maybe you're a coffee fiend, you start cutting back on that. Number 5, you start working on like, okay, well I need like maybe I have shoulder issues. I start working on like using things like yoga and stretching to work on mobility for my shoulders. And like it's pretty much like a lifelong process with these 7 pillars. It's not just like one and done, or like, oh hey, I just did this all for like a whole year. Now like I'm like out of like the fog of my alcohol addiction or whatever. Now I'm completely good, and now I don't have to do this anymore. It's pretty much like stuff that you can apply to for your whole life, and like it's a process. So like and sometimes you might not necessarily be you might have to take a step back in order to take a couple steps forward and everything. So like what people like not just with addiction but with anybody in life, what you can do with these 7 pillars is take it and like look at your unique situation and look at it like okay, where am I? And then when like it may be overwhelming at first, because you may have to like change like 100, 200 different micro habits or whatever, or like maybe a few big habits and everything. Maybe you used to go into like Starbucks. Instead of going to Starbucks, maybe you drive past, like instead of driving past Starbucks to get your favorite mocha choca or whatever, you go take a different route and get like a bottle of water at like a convenience store or something that you never went to or whatever. And so you kind of like have, like I said, have to take a step back and look at like your habits and everything, and like look how you can apply to these 7 pillars to change your habits and everything, to be able to increase your chances of success, not just in being addiction, but in being able to improve your life overall. And so like you have to like look at, like I said, your habits and everything, and look at like, instead of like oh, I had to change everything at once, start working on, maybe you want to like look at like each pillar and like kind of rate yourself on like a scale of 1 to 10, like where you're at. Like, okay, well, like with community, I might be like rated like a 3 or whatever. Okay, I need to work on that because my training is perfect, like good, because that's like a number rated 8 or something. So you can kind of focus on where your weaknesses on, and like I said, it's a constant process and everything, where you're constantly making adjustments to like trying to constantly improve on this, so that way like you're not just improving yourself, but like you're improving the people around you, because like those that like want to change for the better are going to see the changes in you, and so therefore you can be, whether directly or indirectly, that inspiration for other people to change in positive manners. Now, yes, there are going to be people that are going to push back and be like and try and drag you back down to their level. But what you gotta do, and I like using the happy hour analogy, instead of going out to happy hour and like the people like, oh come on, you were going to the gym the last 3 weeks, come on, it's only 1 week, we can go out to happy hour. Those aren't necessarily the type of people you want to be around, dragging you back down to their level, because they can see that you're trying to improve, so they don't want to raise themselves up to that level. They want to drag you back down to your level. So like you kind of like want to like get kind of keep away from those people that like aren't necessarily like going to be good for you, especially if like you're addicted to alcohol or something. What you want to do is start inspiring your be around people that are going to inspire you, and you can inspire them. So like I said, instead of going out to happy hour, those like negative people, like you are going to hang out with the people at the gym where you can start talking and going back and forth and like inspire each other to get better and everything. So after last week off, like with going to see family in New Hampshire and everything, I should be able to be back on schedule for like a weekly stuff and everything. So till next time.